We're one of the few family-owned multi-state companies in the country now. Roaches and ants and termites do not change. They keep on populating. So I ride with our technicians and sales inspectors and managers on a periodic basis in 6 different states. People really like, the bedbug dogs coming into their homes. Well, they don't like bedbugs, don't get me wrong. Okay. I danced for a ballet company for 3 years.
No way.
Yeah. I am like the prom queen who's got a bunch of guys outside in brand new Corvettes. And everybody wants to pick you up and take you to the prom. Lynchburg City has one of the highest unemployment rates in the state of Virginia. Calm down and show the respect to other people like you would show respect to your fellow members of your church. 120,000 people are in the city 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. Traffic circles reduce fatalities, reduce injuries, and reduce accidents.
Retirement anytime soon?
When you come to my wake.
Welcome to another edition of No Holds Barred. I'm Rich Roth, and once again, we here at No Holds Barred are excited to partner with Moore & Giles, who's called the Lynchburg area home for over 90 years. They craft premium leather goods, accessories, bags, furniture, home goods, and leather for residential and commercial interiors. Their products are designed with heirloom craftsmanship and made to last for generations. They remain committed to supporting the Lynchburg community, and if you want to learn more or see some of their collections, visit mooreandgiles.com. Right now, I'd like to welcome to the show Bert Dodson Jr., the president and CEO of Dodson Brothers. We know all the big yellow trucks that are driving all over the, not only Lynchburg area, but correct me if I'm wrong, 150,000 customers, 38 offices around the region, 6 different states.
Yes, sir.
And it all started with a sow and some piglets.
Yes. Well, it wasn't my sow and piglets. I can clarify that.
Tell me that story.
My father was 19, and one of my uncles who served in the Merchant Marine came back to the Lynchburg area in 1944. Actually, our founding date was August 20th, 1944. And my father sold some pigs he had raised as a kid. And what occurs is that, they sold it and they bought a truck. And that's how they started the business back in 1944.
Do you think he ever could have imagined that it would have grown to, right now you're one of the largest independent family-owned pest control businesses in North America.
Yeah, trade magazines say we're the top 10 as far as volume. And we have around 700 team members and 38 offices, 6 states. And we obviously have been very fortunate over the years, and 82 years in service as of this month. And we've been very blessed over the years.
So, and we'll dive through this story in different ways, but you wound up, you told me the story, your dad got sick, you wound up coming back, you were working in Richmond, right? And then came back to Lynchburg and wound up taking over the company? Yeah,
I went to University of Richmond Business School, and then I became a manager in our Richmond office, and I was a regional manager for a number of years. And my father had a brain tumor, and he said he needed me to come back to Lynchburg. And of course, when you leave town, you never think about coming back to town. But I'm glad that happened. Not that he had a brain tumor, he passed in 1989, but we had a good opportunity to do well. And Lynchburg is my home, and our family's been in the area since 1870s, and our family goes back actually to 1649. We did a book on my father many years ago. We found that out. So I love this area, and I love the Lynchburg region.
So you wind up coming back to Lynchburg. You're the president and CEO of Dodson Brothers, but you joke about working for a bunch of women.
Yeah. My father passed. My mother and 2 sisters. I have 2 younger sisters, and my mother are majority stockholders. So I work for a bunch of women, and we all do in relation to the company. We're on the board of directors and stockholders.
You started out at age 15, working part-time in the summer for the company, and didn't necessarily know that you would wind up back here. You pursued some other things, but then you figured out, hey, look, this is the path.
As they say, people make plans. You never can tell what path you might go down. So I went to college. I went to Virginia Tech for 1 year, played some football there, switched over to University of Richmond, and graduated from the business school, like I said. And then it came to the opportunity to come with the company. And instead of going to law school, which I took my law entrance exams, I did okay, but unfortunately, I partied the night before, and my roommate gets up and said, "We have the law entrance exams, Bert, today." I go, "What?" We stayed up like 2 or 3 o'clock that morning, so I didn't do real well on them. But it's in my blood in relation to pest control.
So, what did you do at age 15?
Crawl up on the houses, doing termite work. My father had a farm down near Rustburg on the Red House Road, and worked those years, farming as far as hauling hay and cutting silage and stringing wire, et cetera. And the pest control, doing pest control in people's homes, et cetera. So it's one thing that doesn't change. The roaches and ants and termites do not change. They keep on populating. So,
what's the and you were telling me that you still will ride along with folks, and you'll still go into people's houses or businesses.
Yes, I ride with our technicians and sales inspectors and managers on a periodic basis in 6 different states. I got some really wild stories. Working in D.C. at night, it was pretty interesting. But what happens is that it's good to have your pulse on it rather than just I manage people who manage people primarily. But it's really nice to go in. I had one instance that happened a year or so ago. It's up in the D.C. area in Prince George's County, and have this very handsome technician, and he's a drummer and what have you. We walk into the apartment complex, and a woman said, "Oh, I don't want you. Okay, I want him to stay here." He said, no, he's the president of the company. Okay, he thought I was in training, so he said, "No problem." So, okay, you can go ahead with him. But it's a real pleasure to work with our team members.
What and you said you've got some crazy stories about being up in D.C., but I imagine you've run into all kinds of different things when you're working in houses or crawling in crawl spaces.
Right.
I mean, a lot of stuff that most people don't want any part of. You guys are right there on the front lines.
Well, I tell people who come with us as far as team members, we have some really good advantages in the pest control industry. You can't automate our jobs. You can't send them overseas. You got constant press pressure. You'll have people and companies, we do a lot of commercial work, pay for it. And we cannot be replaced by AI until they figure out robots to crawl up on the houses or crawl into attics or crawl on top of roofs and et cetera. What we do, you can't be replaced.
Any good scares with any bugs, insects, anything that you've come across, a nest of something? I mean, I
wouldn't say that, you crawl up on the house, you get, snakes go out in different directions. You be treating areas and rats run across your feet. It's pretty interesting. But I think the people that you meet, that's the very interesting part. It's just very challenging sometimes, and because people do not like living with pests for some reason. I don't know.
You don't know why.
I have no idea. But it's living with people. But as far as experiencing, you get stung by a hornet once in a while. It's mice. You might take some roaches sometimes home inside your shirt, etc. I know I'm freaking some of you listeners out now, but it's opportunity to do the right thing and deliver the proper service to our customers.
What about your I was going to say your employees, but you call them teammates.
Yeah, team members.
Right? Team members. There, you have to, I would imagine, have a certain disposition to be able to. To not have a fear of spiders or be allergic to, bees or wasps or yellow jackets or something like that. I mean, it seems like
it's not for everybody.
No,
we obviously hire people, go through the training, and people say this is not for me. But what occurs is that it's an opportunity for people to grow within a company, and I think. It gives a chance to see people in different places, different accounts. We do a tremendous amount of commercial work. We do a lot of universities and colleges, and see the diversity of the service we do is pretty amazing.
When you talk about the diversity of service, how far does that expand?
Okay, as far as geographical area?
Well, no, as far as the different types of services that you offer that people might not consider.
Well, to give you viewers or your listeners a rundown, we service all the state of West Virginia, several and 12 counties on the Ohio side, all of Virginia, D.C. area, North, South Carolina, and Eastern Tennessee. So we basically do pest control from Wheeling, West Virginia, which is an hour west of Pittsburgh, down to Hilton Head, South Carolina, and from the coast to Knoxville. So that's a geographical area. In relation, what was the question you had?
When you say pest control, what exactly does that? I mean, we know about like ants and different things like that, and coming in and spraying. And I mean, we use you guys here at James River Media, and come through and just spray every month or so.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what occurs is that we do pest control for homes. We do it for companies, of course, and universities. We do a tremendous amount of termite control work too, in relation to our services. We do a lot of fumigations. We do fumigations for homes, as far as tarpon homes, as far as wood destroying insects, platypus beetles, and wood borers, and very few companies. I think hardly anybody in Virginia, in most of the states we operate, do home fumigations anymore. It's a very skilled practice. And we do.
Why?
Because you deal with the regulations, the insurance, the equipment, and the knowledge. A lot of people in our market areas we have our services don't have the expertise we have. We have around, let's say, for example, we have around 700 some team members. And we have training workshop every year to recertify ourselves in fumigations. We had 100 people, fumigators. And a service we picked up recently, the last 3 to 7 years, I say, that we fumigate homes for bed bugs, whereby we go into, it's not a tarp around the house, but we go in and seal this house, and then we have canines that come in like 2 weeks later and check out for the bed bugs. We have 3 teams of canines. 2
Really?
each. Yes, it's pretty interesting.
What kind of dogs?
Different type of breeds, mostly smaller breeds.
Okay.
We've had for like 10 to 12 years. And usually in the pest control business, not getting to the into the sand on this, okay? But mostly they hire people outside of the pest control business who have bed bug experience to come in and do it. We have our own bed bug dogs, and I have have a team out of Salem, one out of Greensboro, and one out of Richmond, and they go to. Was a certain university on the East Coast, I can't say its name, that we just did all the dorms, last week, hundreds of rooms. And it's interesting. We have one individual in Richmond who was on our pest control route in one of Richmond offices, and he got hired into this position. We take pest control people, they're long-term with us, and train them to be canine handlers. We don't take canine handlers and train them pest control. And since they know pest control, it's a lot easier. But make a long story short, he served for the military in the Army as a bomb disposal unit in Afghanistan. And 2 of his canines are named after 2 buddies of his that were deceased in combat. So I say that because I honor his service, et cetera. But it's pretty interesting that in relation to, everybody loves the animals.
Yeah.
They just love the dogs. Okay, they love the dogs.
So the dogs are specifically trained to find bed bugs. How do they do that?
Well, a trainer is done outside. I think we get them from Kansas or Ohio, another state, and they train them for bed bug in detection.
Like sniffing them out? Or?
Right, just like you would for explosives or guns or drugs, okay? They just do it for bed bugs and like that. So It's pretty neat. And people really like, the bed bug dogs coming into their homes. Well, they don't like bed bugs, don't get me wrong, okay? But they feel secure that, okay, if this dog can't sniff a bed bug, we're fine, okay? So I don't know what it is. Some people have adverse to having sleep in the beds and having bed bugs bite them, okay? Somehow, I don't know, okay?
But it's like a consolation that they get the dogs.
Well, I will say to your listeners, I travel a great deal. I always have anti-itch lotion in my suitcase because you get up in the middle of the night and you get bit by several bed bugs. I don't know if you want to stay in the bed or not, but what happened, at least you got something to curtail the itching rather than going out and to find out a 24-hour store to find one. So
all right, maybe you can help folks out with that because I know that's always a concern, right? You're staying in a hotel, are there bed bugs? How do you what do you do to look for them? Well,
first of all,
do you look for them or?
I don't look for them because I'm just going, I drive a lot at night and work during the day, so I don't care. I just go. But we have a lot of people in our company that travel, and we got fellow team members that will take a flashlight and look through the crevices of a mattress, into the frames, into the mattress itself. They'll do a 15 to 20 minute inspection of the bedroom before they lay their head down. I mean,
how that? Well, I get it. I mean, people get freaked out by that.
Yeah, exactly right. What do you look for? Is the next question.
What do you look for, and how common is it? I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, don't even put your luggage on the floor. Put it on a table or something like that.
Okay, that makes sense. Bed bugs. Actually, in my profession, I've been in for several decades, of course. Bed bugs wasn't an issue because the materials we had, the pesticides we had, took care of them. But as the time went on, those pesticides were retired. Mm-hmm. And actually, in the early 2000s, this bed bug infestation started populating, and it became it's still a real serious problem. But it's a opportunity to eliminate a pest that people really don't like. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of bed bug treatments that we do over the year. I mean, thousands.
Wow.
And I wouldn't go into exaggeration. I would say, thousands of treatments in the areas that we operate.
Are bed bugs one of the hardest things to get rid of?
They are not. They're very hard to get rid of. They're very small. And, of course, they get bigger when they have more blood. Okay, I'm not trying to gross out your listeners again, of course.
I saw you look at Kira on that one.
Yeah, right. She's looking like, oh my God, why didn't I invite this guy here? But they're very serious. And people should read up on them because it's very extensive in relation to bed bugs in areas. And it's not like you have a dirty house or even a dirty or a nasty motel. It's travel. They travel. And of course, the international travel picked up in the early 2000s. And that was a issue too. With the pickup, the travel, and with the materials that were kind of limited that we could use, there was an explosion. And so a lot of us who've been in the business a long time had to re-educate ourselves on bedbug treatments because we didn't have the expertise. But when the bedbug infestation started multiplying throughout the country,
are they one of the more difficult pests to get rid of? What else is on that list? What don't people want in their house?
Mice, ants. And there's all kind of different varieties of ants. And but ants, they're not good to have around, okay? But I think what happened, we don't get into wildlife removal. It's a whole different profession there and the like. But where
does it stop? I mean, mice are pests, not wildlife.
Mice are rodents. Okay, rodents, of course.
Okay.
Well, a squirrel's a rodent with a big tail. You know that, okay? But I won't go there. But what happens is that rats and mice and I tell you the biggest pest. The biggest pest I had to encounter was roof rats. We don't have them in the general area, mostly in the coastal areas. And they are a big problem, and they're like ghosts. You cannot find out where they're nesting. You cannot see where they're eating at. They're like ghosts, and to try to take care of them is a real challenge. But anyhow, we don't have any around the Lynchburg areas. But rodents carry a lot of diseases, of course, and ants. And there's all, like I said, all different types of ants, but they can be treated easily if the right material is used.
Bert, we'll circle back to the business in just a minute, but you talked about going to Tech to play football for a year. What was that like?
It was interesting. Coming from Brooklyn High School in Campbell County, like, whoa, it was a big school and like that. And I enjoyed it. I liked Tech a lot, but I wanted a smaller school. Now, that's why I transferred to the University of Richmond. And I hurt my knee my second year. Then I started running indoor-outdoor track and cross-country. And we actually placed in the Nationals my last year's a 2-mile relay team. Basically, it's a like 1,600 meter relay team now. We usually be the 880, of course, two laps around the trap. So it was got all American. It was interesting. I say that because you got to push yourself when you're running, and I enjoyed running. One thing I learned from running, and a lot of the listeners can adapt to this, you don't think about the miles behind you. You think of the miles ahead of you, just like life.
Yeah.
You don't think about the days or weeks or months or years behind you. You look for the time ahead of you. That's one thing I believe in.
Yeah, I was going to say, you mentioned that to me when we kind of spoke before sitting down. And, I don't know if it's prophetic, but, I mean, it really does resonate for certainly business, certainly life as well. Like, you can't control what happened in the past, but, you certainly embrace it, right? You remember it, great memories, but you're always looking ahead.
Well, it's like driving. You're always looking ahead. You can look in the rearview mirror and see what's behind you, but you're always looking ahead.
Yeah.
Into the right and to the left. But that's one thing that I always enjoy. And it gives you a real, and then not trying to make a long story short, then I got into racing 10 speeds in Richmond. And actually, I'll tell you, listen to something you would not believe. And if they saw me personally, they'd go, he's lying. I danced for a ballet company for 3 years.
No way.
Yeah. Okay.
How did that happen?
Just ran into some friends. I don't know. They were in the ballet, and it was interesting. It was one thing that ballet teaches you is discipline. Okay. Now I'm a big guy hanging out with a lot of teenagers and younger adult females, of course, in relation to throwing them up and catching them and all that. Now, don't get me wrong. I wasn't a nutcracker. Okay, guy. Okay, I was that guy.
You were like tiptoeing around.
Yeah. There are pictures floating around with me in tights. Okay, so that's a long time. That's a long time ago. Okay.
Oh, you need to share those with us.
No, that's
you need to share those with us.
No, that's in my safety deposit box in my bank. But it gives you discipline.
Well, and you stuck with it for 3 years. Yeah. So clearly, I mean, did you like it? Was it about the girls? What was
No, it wasn't about the girls. It was about the discipline. It was about this one. But I hurt my knee playing college football. Then my knee had issues, and I had to stop dancing. But it was like 2 or 3 times a week. I think twice a week, and twice a week. And I was on the road too. I covered. My region at that time covered 2/3 of Virginia, from Hampton Roads all the way up to D.C., up to the Shenandoah Valley. So I was on the road a great deal, based out of Richmond. So and every weekend too. Every weekend we rehearsed for 5 to 6 hours. So it was pretty intense. So you learn discipline. Now I'm not saying you go get a tutu. Okay, Rich, and some dance shoes. I mean, that would be very interesting.
Well, and full disclosure, and I know a lot of people know this from my days back on the sports line, but I was a gymnast in high school and college.
Right.
So I was there in the tights with you.
Okay, all right, exactly right.
I didn't have the tutu though.
No, you wanted the tutu. Okay, were you Olympic material?
No.
But it gives you discipline, right?
It certainly does.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Any sport does, really, though. Or
that's true.
Activity like that. I mean, you talked about football, you talked about track. I mean, to do that at a high level, on the college level, I mean, it's a commitment that offers, not only discipline, but time management, because you talked about, you're studying, you're in school, but you still have to practice, and you got to juggle a lot of things. I mean, and that's something as an employer, I would think, and I've heard a lot of, people talk about the fact that they like hiring college athletes because of the discipline, the time management, all the different things that, you learn playing the sport in college.
Or high school.
Or high school.
Mm-hmm. Well, athletes want to do well in school and at the sports too. Mm-hmm. I agree with you, because then you learn how to juggle. And that's, looking back in time, that really helped me a lot too.
I want to hear more about the ballet.
Oh,
that blows me away.
That
blows me away.
There's bars in Lynchburg. You can bring me to. Okay, so you might get a little more of that.
The fact that you just came out and admitted that's awesome.
What gets you discipline, things of that sort. And it happened in Richmond, so it wouldn't happen in Lynchburg. So there'll be nobody around here that'll tell you things of that sort. It's the Richmond Ballet Company. Okay.
So all right, so
Concert Ballet Company. Go ahead.
So were you in performances?
Yeah, we did Nutcracker. We did you ever been to Richmond very much? Dogwood Dale and Burt Park. Yeah, we did performances there. We toured some, so it was pretty interesting. Don't get me wrong, I wasn't Russian. Okay, it was fun. It was 3 males and probably 30 to 40 females in the group. So
that's a good ratio.
Yeah, it was a good ratio. I was the biggest guy but it was fun. It was fun. It was endearing and like that. Got a lot of jokes, from my guys.
I'm sure.
Former friends of mine who had attitudes about people who danced ballet back in the day, which I had a lot of former friends, so they made all kind of comments. So
I can relate.
Yeah. Okay. They can, whatever. Okay, exactly.
So that lasted.
Next subject.
That lasted 3 years, though.
Yeah, exactly. And the only reason I gave it up because my knee gave out, and then I had my knee reconstructed a few years later. So.
Well, I mean, you talk about the discipline, but clearly you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I just, it was fascinating time. It was fascinating time.
So a year at Tech, then you go to Richmond. You go from playing football. You talked about hurting your knee. How'd you like football at Tech?
I liked it. I liked the hitting. Okay, until I got my knee messed up and everything. But yeah, it was. I like football. Yeah, my only regret, I have 7 G. I call them G kids. Okay, and we talked earlier about it. They call me Papa Bert. And of course, I told them they call me Grandpa. They would be retracted from the wheel. Okay, but I got four grandsons and 3 granddaughters. The 4 grandsons, 2 live in South Florida. They know nothing about American football. I mean, they know about soccer.
Oh.
And one plays soccer at the university up in Massachusetts now.
Okay.
But it's like, they don't, all 4, it's like, I feel lost and lonely. I mean, I got 4 going from like 14 to 20, 21, and they don't know anything about American football. It's like, how were they raised? Okay.
That's unbelievable.
That's just, they might know the names of the teams. That's about it. But as far as playing it and everything. So, but you think about it, American football is unique to our country. I mean, there's other countries that play it.
And football's huge in Florida.
It's massive.
It's huge.
But soccer's bigger. Soccer's bigger.
But how do you not know?
I don't know. But it happens. They won't get all my paraphernalia from my favorite sports teams when I kick out and everything. I'll donate to some. I'll donate it to you, Rich. Okay, and go from there. All right.
Once again, Bert Dodson joins me here on No Holds Barred. So you go to Richmond. You get your business degree. You wind up taking the LSATs after a night out partying, after not preparing.
Right.
So needless to say, that doesn't go as well as it might have.
Right, exactly. Right. And we'll go from there. But.
And then you wind up in the family business. And, we touched on the fact that you wind up coming back to the Lynchburg area when your dad got that brain tumor. But, talk a little bit about the early part of your career where, you had the opportunity to learn from your dad and presumably your uncles as well, about business. What are some of the lessons that he taught you?
Well, that's good. Going back to the history of the company real quick, obviously formed 1944. My father bought out 2 of his brothers in the 50s.
Okay.
And so in the early 60s, he had 95% of the company. Of course, he had 95% of the company. He can do what he wanted to do, of course. I think what happens in management, you want to be sure that the team members that report to you, whatever level, give the most they can, and you want to compensate them for their for the work. I say that because we have probably 20 different incentive plans in our company. Many of our people are on commission, and we have a very trusted workforce. Actually, we have multi-generations in different offices, different states. Actually, we have one here that's 3rd generation. And we care about people, care about us. And that's something I've, relate to our meetings and believe in the last number of years. Now, if someone doesn't care about us, they can be successful somewhere else. We're not an employment agency. I mean, I'll just say it to your listeners. But we care about what we do. And we're not perfect at what we do, but obviously perfect is about love the Lord and maybe the birth of a child, okay? But we try to do the best we can in relation to helping our customers, rid their homes of invasive pests and issues that they have in the homes, like that, and businesses.
Yeah, you touched on the fact that a lot of your team members are working on commission.
Right.
Is that very common in the pest control business?
No, it's somewhat. I don't know what most is hourly, okay, or salary and like that. So we have a good opportunity for people who and the vast majority of our team members are high school graduates. It's probably a couple dozen that are 4-year college altogether. And we've had people just work up through the system, start as a technician, go into sales, supervision, manager. Throughout our company in the different states, we have people who've worked their way up through the system and done well.
the commission structure. I mean, obviously, I think most people would assume that for salespeople, right?
Yes.
But you're not talking about just salespeople.
No, service techs too, things of that sort.
How does that work?
They get a percentage of the production. They do. So if, for example, if we do pest control in your home and you don't like us and you cancel us, well, a percentage of his pay, his or her pay, goes out the door. So it's very incentivized as far as them doing the right service.
And that encourages good customer service and being on time and all those different things.
Yeah, and customers always been demanding, and they're really demanding these days. Of course, they go because they can go on the internet and see what's here and there, et cetera. But I think it's a real challenge for us, but we're doing okay.
Did your dad implement that same system, or is that something?
Yes, he implemented it many years ago, but we enhanced it over the years. We used to have like maybe a dozen, and we increased it double that as far as incentive programs for everyone, from our CSRs to our corporate office to our regional offices to everyone in the company shares the benefits of our success.
Do they like that? I would imagine they do if they're good at it, but it's funny because nowadays there are so many people who don't want to work on commission. They just want that guarantee, right? I want to know how much I'm making. I want to know what my paycheck's going to be. I don't want it to be incentivized.
Well, I would say I'm not getting to our payroll, of course, but we have known people on hourly. But what occurs is, again, we're looking for people who want to dedicate themselves to doing the right service and giving the right service and providing for the families. And we got a lot of benefits too. In the pest control business, outside of the larger companies, it's around 19,000 pest control firms in the country, ballpark.
Okay.
And around 7,500 part of our national organization, National Pest Control Management Organization. So what happened, if you incentivize people, but if people just want to work on an hourly basis, fine, we have that opportunity too. But, the more you do, the better you do, the more money you make. That's the way things go.
Funny how that works.
It's funny how that works, okay? So if you want to just punch a clock and get X amount of money, fine, that's not it's not our cup of tea like that. So
one of the other things that you started when early on in your tenure, when you had just taken over from your dad running the business, was giving back to communities and donating a certain percentage of your profits to different charities.
Yeah, we came out in the early 90s because when you run a business, and business owners will listen to this, always, they run into the same situation. Everybody, nonprofits ask, for money.
Always, yeah.
And what we do is we have around 120 organizations, 80% are within the Lynchburg area, that we support based on the profits of our company in the past. And my mother and sisters, myself, board members, we make a decision in December. And if our profits go up percentage-wise, we increase that opportunity too. So, but there again, you can't fund everybody. But people have to be a 501c, okay? Yeah. And they submit a request. And I present it to the board, and we do a lot of different organizations. Actually, what I didn't tell you the other day when we were talking, we've had 6 or 7 really valuable 10-year, 20, 30-year contributions from some of our team members who passed while they were working for us. So we give a donation to their favorite church on an annual basis in memory of them. For example, I had a assistant for me that worked for us for 30 years, and she passed a number of years ago. And we give a nice contribution to Fairview Christian Church every year off Campbell Avenue. So in memory of her. And so that's something we've done, and the board approves it. And I've known all these people too. And these people have passed while they were working for the company and the like. So we try to honor their commitment and to the company in that fashion. You
said well over 100 organizations you donate to each year. There are so many great charities and nonprofits out there. You hate to say no to any, but you have to.
Well, I don't say no. The board does. Exactly. Well, and Habitat. We have been doing in Lynchburg only termite treatment that when the house was built since 1989, and that's over 300 some homes they built in Lynchburg over that period of time. Lynchburg, I think it's got one of the highest, built for habitat in the country per capita as far as the city, and that's a real. Got 300 some homes right now that were treated, for termites at one time by our company when they were constructed. So that's giving back. It didn't cost habitat anything.
Speaking of giving back, tell me about Jamaica.
I've been to Jamaica a number of times. It's a very poor country. It's in the Caribbean, of course. It's got a lot of challenges. They had a really bad hurricane recently and caused a lot of death and destruction. So I go down several times a year and take books and clothes and shoes that people donate to me, and I take them down to the Caribbean. So,
do you have a place down there?
Yes, I have a place, acre land. Okay, they call it the yard. Okay, the yard. Okay, the acre land. But I've been going there for many years. It's really challenging. What's really challenging is driving.
Why?
Well, not because it's the British way of driving on the left.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it's not because there's hardly any stoplights. This is in the western part of Jamaica. Okay, it's potholes. Oh my God, they got potholes everywhere, and they never fix the roads. Now, tourists go there, it's fine. They got buses and everybody. But, I come back to the States and I look for potholes, Seriously, I just look for potholes. I'm talking about fish pond potholes, okay? And you hit there, boom, you'll lose a tire or an axle. So it's pretty challenging because I have a car that I drive around. A friend of mine has a car dealership, so he lets me, drive a car. So it's pretty interesting. I'm driving around, and it's gotta watch the potholes, Okay. Then I go there. I'm not used to looking at potholes. I hit a few because you don't have that many potholes around here. But and everybody's walking and biking, and it's just there's no sidewalks and. It's like we got like big lanes we drive through and these like small lanes. So it's pretty interesting. But they're good people in a lot of ways. What
turned you on to Jamaica? What made you...
Well, first of all, it's warm in the winter.
Well, but there are a lot of places that are.
Yeah, but it's just the way the country was, because obviously it was a colony for Britain for many years and gave independence in 1962 or 64. And it was the jewel of the Caribbean, of course, sugarcane. It's interesting, not trying to get off target here, but sugar in the 1700s was like oil today.
Is that right?
Yeah, because you think back in ancient times, like wood, okay? But there was no sugar in Europe. So the sugar isles were very, very lucrative business, very lucrative business. So I don't know where that came from, but anyhow, of course, the enslaved people didn't benefit from it, okay? And there's another place that knows no American football. They like soccer and cricket. Oh,
your grandkids must love it.
Oh, well, they don't know anything about cricket, okay? But cricket. Have you ever seen a cricket game?
I flip past.
Oh,
I've
my
never
gosh.
watched one.
Yeah, but they get into cricket. Just it's British. It's a British tradition. It's big time in cricket. Like, yeah, I think it's just here. We had exterminated crickets, and down there, crickets is the game. Exactly right. So yeah.
Back to the pest control business. Private equity firms are taking over the industry, you were telling me.
Like a lot of industries.
Yeah.
There's around 45 to 50 private equity firms. And what they do, they'll take Rich Pest Control, for example, and pay him X amount of money. Then they'll build other companies into Rich Pest Control and bring it up. And they go out and, what they do is that everything's okay the first year. But the second year, that's when they start demanding more for the people or working them 6 days a week or cutting their benefits and yada, yada, yada. And they're like vultures, okay? And private equity firms are throughout the industry. And not pest control, a lot of other industries
absolutely,
too.
Yep.
But what happens, they build it up and then they sell it for 6-7 years. So they found the pest control business because of recurring revenue and you got constant pest pressure. So a lot of people I've known over the years, last 8 to 10 years, have sold out to private equity firms. I mean, Terminex, which is the second largest in the country, based out of Memphis, Tennessee, sold out to a British company, which is the largest in the world, Rent-A-Kill. And like it's a big Swedish company called Anti-Steamax, which means anti-bed bug. They have really come into areas and just gobbled up, just like private equity firms do. They have no allegiance. They're looking for the dollar, and that's it.
Throw a lot of money around.
Oh, they throw a lot of money around. That's exactly right. But they don't. They take care of the owners, but the people they promise them stuff, but they don't. They find some way to take advantage of their opportunity. Is that a nice way to say it on radio? I can't
you can say it however you want.
Well, I don't want to get too special, but anyhow. But we'll remain family owned, and we're one of the few family owned multi-state companies in the country now.
Safe to assume that you've been approached by private equity?
I would say I'm trying to use my words to be sure that it gets meaning I am like the prom queen who's got a bunch of guys outside in brand new Corvettes, and everybody wants to pick you up and take you to the prom. So it's, yes, 6 to 7 times a week.
Tempting?
No.
Why?
Well, first of all, and some of our team members are listening. They're our team members, okay? It's in my blood, and the family's blood too. And we feel very dedicated to the people who've helped build our company up. And like, yeah, you could cash in for big money, but money's money, like that. Sounds I'm kind of like stuffy, but it's true. I care about it. I tell my friends that they had large companies at the country. I said, well, you know what you got to do, don't you? They said, what? I said, you have to move out of your town. They said, wow, because all your people at church and at your country club and at every place you go that had your pest control service in a couple of years, they're going to be mad at you. Because the private equity firms are going to mess them over. I guess I can say that here, mess them over, okay? Mess them over. That. So that's, and I love the business too, so take it from there.
Yeah, I mean, you're still on the road all the time. I mean, going into people's houses on calls, I mean.
Well, there's not too much of it. I mostly manage people, okay? And we have commercial sales reps, different areas that sell big accounts and try to keep it. We do a lot of healthcare, and we have a tremendous amount of business to take care of. And people love seeing the president, CEO of the company come out. And sometimes we run into real serious issues, and I'll go and drive to the area and see it and everything with them and deal with the issues. So, and
I would imagine it makes a big statement for you to go out there and actually be on the scene, be hands-on.
Yeah, right. They think it's some guy that's, sits behind a desk and don't know anything, just a paper pusher or a computer guy. And they're pretty amazed. So it's good. They listen to you. So
you've got a long, distinguished career away from the pest control business. I mean, numerous awards, honors, boards that you've sat on, too many to mention. But one of the ones that I know really stands out to you was your civic service as a member of the Lynchburg City Council. You talked about that being the best part-time job you ever had.
Absolutely, no doubt, and everything. There's been many years since I was on City Council, but from 98 to 2010, 12 years, and 3 different terms. If you're going to do something, do it right. I spent, with no exaggeration, 80 to 100 hours a month for 12 years straight. Meetings, talking to people, reading a great deal, going out. As a caveat, I rode with the police 100 times. It's 12 years, no exaggeration, and just want to see what's on the road. Actually, I'm on the Police Foundation Board, which we just, obviously kicked off the Honor Garden recently at the new police headquarters. Public safety, big thing of mine, public education. That's one thing about City Council. You should stay away from the culture issues. If people on the state or level or the national level want to get into these chats going on and criticizing people, etc., whatever. Okay, that's America. Okay, that's where we are. But it's filling potholes. It's pride for police, pride for education, economic development, community involvement. That's what local government's all about. And it was fascinating.
It's funny. I had Kim Payne on this show several months ago, And he talked about the same thing, at the local
Former
level.
city manager.
Former city manager, right, absolutely. And he talked about the same thing, saying at the city level or at the local level, this Republican, Democrat, and, it's about, keeping the schools open, keeping people paid, fixing the potholes. And that's one of the things that's really stood out to me the more I've kind of dug into your career there and talked to different people, including Kim Payne. And, he told me that, you were one of the best city council members that he ever had who helped him work through the budget, because that's always one of the biggest challenges is people want to, nitpick certain line items or whatever. But, you actually dove into it and really helped him try and solve it. And I would think a big part of that is your background in business.
Yeah, you deal with finances. You try not to deal with emotions. And you want to get the taxpayer dollars spent the best way you can. And it was fascinating in a lot of ways when he did the budget. That's the biggest thing that a city council member does. It's a budget. And you want to do a good job on it. You always got high demands here, of course. But it's nice for Kim to say that. It was really, I was part of the crew that, part of the city council that hired Kim. He came from Fredericksburg, now it's Spotsylvania County. And Kim's got a long, distinguished career. Things of that sort. He never watched TV, though. He never watched TV. He watched.
There was one problem with him, right?
Yeah. He was a Duke basketball. He loved that Duke game. Okay, but he was a fascinating guy, and actually, we got into revitalizing downtown on my first couple tours of city council, and which was actually in the early 2000s. Lynchburg was the largest city in the state that had not revitalized its downtown area, and we only got 50 square miles. Did you know Lynchburg's got 50 square miles?
No. I didn't.
And we are bigger land-wise than the city of San Francisco.
Is that right?
Yeah. They got 49.7 or something like that.
It's close.
But anyhow, but 50 square miles. And there's a lot of territory in Lynchburg.
You talk about the downtown revitalization, and that was one of the things, not being from here, when I moved here, that really shocked me, because I remember driving downtown on a Saturday afternoon, just regular spring Saturday afternoon, and one of the traffic lights just blinking, a red light. It wasn't even red, yellow, green. I mean, I joked that there was tumbleweed. There wasn't tumbleweed, but there might have been. Right. And I'm sitting there going, "This is downtown. This is crazy."
Downtown now has got real challenges because nobody could predict that Genworth, that used to be First Colony, would abandon the building downtown. A lot of people would not think that, with the pandemic, jobs would go to homes rather than into office buildings. Commerce Street's busy all the time, et cetera. But we have our downtown was really not doing anything at all. And what we got together on the city council and passed the downtown improvement plan, I think it's called the Sasaki plan, back in the early 2000s. And over a period of time, it's generated a tremendous amount of tax revenue as far as improvement. And you go downtown, and there's a lot of young adults. A lot come from Liberty to stay in Lynchburg to live downtown. And those loft buildings are about completely full, as you well know. So it's been a real challenge now, obviously, but it's a good place. And people love living downtown. They come from larger cities. They get it's less rent. And I mean, you got a computer, you can do your work anywhere, a laptop. So it's been a real good revitalization.
Is that one of the the things that was accomplished during your time on city council that you're most proud of? What else stands out? Yeah,
that was road improvements. Other items as far as helping the sports in the city. And there again, it's like you're a part-time person. Sometimes people really lose viewpoint of what city council is in Lynchburg. I use an analogy on the business level. There's around 1,200 city employees, and the city manager is like the CEO, and the city council is like a board of directors. So the board of directors, majority of board of directors, in a vote, the city manager, the city attorney, and the clerk of the clerk of the city council are the only three people that report to city council in our scheme. And sometimes you get council members now or in the past think they're the boss. No, the city manager is the boss. His department heads are the boss. And you got to stay in your lane in relation to be a very efficient and respectable city council member. I've served with council members that came in and thought they were the boss, but it's, and then they figured out, they're not the boss and like that. But it's you got to just stay in your lane in relation to the government. That's my belief. And actually, in our city government, I would say who's the most influential person on any city council, whether it's now or 10 or 20 or 30 years ago?
This is a trick question. I know the answer.
Yeah, you know the answer now. Maybe I should ask her. Okay, so it's the person who get 3 other votes. That's the bottom line.
Because you need 4 to carry.
You get 3. You get 4 out of. It's not like 100 delegates in the House of Delegates, or 40 state senators, or 100 U.S. senators, or 40 House of Representatives. You just got to get 3 other votes, and that's the person that has the most influence in city council. And not the mayor. The mayor is a ceremonial position that runs the meetings, all due respect. The vice mayor is there, and the mayor's out, et cetera. But who can get 3 other votes? I like that system. I like that.
Bert, what's your impression of city council right now?
The current city council? Mm-hmm. I think what happens is that now we're walking into something that's a lot of conversation.
Oh, it's the talk of the town.
It's talk of the town.
You've been there, though.
Been there, and actually, I read a lot of news stories on the state level, and because I deal with a lot of state issues, of course, with the business and other factors. I think all council members care about what they're doing, but they got to stay in their lane in relation to their respectable positions. And like I said, don't go out there and act like you're the city manager. You want to be a city manager, apply for a city manager position or town manager position. So I think it's really divided our community. See, if you look back in history, in political history of Lynchburg, the elections were in May. Mm-hmm. And people vote Democrat, Republican, okay, et cetera, et cetera. But, we saw Lynchburg first. Actually, I was an organization in 98 when we, myself and Carl Hutchison and Stuart Hobbs, who formed a ticket in Lynchburg First. Sounds like something like America First now, USA First, but it was back in the late 90s. But what happens is that you got to give back to the community, but there's so much, people are somewhat divided. And we kind of wrapped up the state and the national scene. So you just need to calm down and deal with people, and it's just not a challenge for our area. It's we're getting a bad rap through the whole state. Mm-hmm. I travel the state and talk politics and different people and everything, and it's just unfortunate because remember, all Democrats, Republicans, we cared about the city. That was the main thing. Now it's R&D. And do you know how Lynchburg got to November elections? Mm-mm. You ready for this? And this is point blank. First of all, there's 39 cities in the state of Virginia. At that time, a few years ago, when the Democrats had control of the House and the Senate and the governorship of the Northern, they passed a legislation forcing all localities to go to November elections. There were 116 towns that still had May elections. Now, the citizens of Lynchburg had got together, the referendum passed, and we would have changed like Roanoke's done, like Richmond did. Like there's 39 cities, 16 cities at that time still had May elections. So it could have come up, instead of being demanded by the General Assembly, by the state government to go to November elections. The reason why, you had a state senator, I won't mention his name, from Chesapeake, who did not get along with his Chesapeake City Council. They were mostly Republican. He was a Democrat. So he pushed legislation to change all the elections. Now, there again, the citizens of any town or any city could have gotten together and passed a referendum. That's democracy. Mm-hmm. But they were forced, and they used the word Jim Crow. The Jim Crow laws that had cities and towns throughout the state had in May elections. Had nothing to do with Jim Crow. Zero. Fortunately, he was defeated in a primary with Louise Lucas. You probably heard of her, the state senator from Portsmouth. Okay, so that's how we went to November elections rather than May elections. Like who's president, who's governor, who's this, who's that, all this cultural stuff. Back in the past, for decades, even before I got on council, there was always, what can we do to fill those potholes? What we could do to help our schools get better? What could we do to give our city employees more income? What could we do in relation to helping our police department, our fire department? What could we do with economic development? Now it's like, it's the R's and the D's, and it's unfortunate.
You said earlier that you donated, you gave 80 to 100 hours a month.
Right.
On city council.
Yes, sir.
As your part-time job while you were still running Dodson Brothers.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Kim Payne told me that being on city council cost your business because there were certain, city enterprises, that's not the right word, but like city schools, you couldn't bid on.
No, that or the city government. But
right.
there again.
You sacrifice to be on to a degree.
Yeah.
And now I get the feeling, and I'm not just going to point the finger at city council because I think it's probably true, not just statewide, but nationwide, that people get into politics for their own self-betterment rather than to help the city, to help the state, to help whatever. We're seeing politicians, Congress members get really wealthy with the insider trading, which they can't, just all different things. And, you look around and you're like, is he or she in it, to really help the city, or are they in it, or the state, or whatever it might be, or are they in it to help themselves?
Well, my father gave me a lot of insight in public service. He ran for state senate many years ago when I was in college, and he really wanted to do well. And I say that, and he had a ninth grade education off the farm, so he wasn't a quote-unquote a highly educated person in relation to college. But I think what happens is that, it is bizarre how much money is spent. It is bizarre. This Congresswoman in Michigan just lost her election, the Democrat nomination last week. Spent $60-some million on a Democrat nomination. There were House of Delegate members that won congressional delegate seats in 2025, $3.2 million for a 2-year term. And there's a swing that goes back. Did you know? I'm not trying to get into the weeds as far as state politics. I'll ask you something you probably don't know.
There's a good chance of that.
As far as the House of Delegates.
A lot of things.
There are more women Democratic delegates in the House of Delegates in the state of Virginia. There are total Republicans.
Is that right?
Yeah. And, that's good. Don't get me wrong, but it's a mentality.
Is it good?
Northern Virginia, Richmond, Hampton Roads. See, people really traveling the state. You see it a great deal. The city of Lynchburg is like 80,000 people. Okay, there's 8.8 million in the state. We're at 250 altogether with Campbell, Bedford, Amherst, maybe Nelson thrown in there. What happens? You call it you've heard the Golden Crescent. The Golden Crescent. Have you heard that before?
No, I haven't.
Oh. Where have you been? I got to spend more time with you. Golden Crescent is Hampton. It's Northern Virginia, Richmond, Hampton Roads.
Okay,
that's a Golden Crescent, and the population shifts are immense. And over a period of time, you're going to have less representation at the state, even the national level, from my area, because the population shifts. And there again, people in our part of the state and further southwest don't like Northern Virginia, et cetera. But we're a Commonwealth, and if you're in Northern Virginia and making big money, you're paying the same state income tax as we are. So it generates a lot of revenue for the whole state. I say that because we come into like two different states, the Golden Crescent and outside the Golden Crescent, and like that. And it's not going to be good for the future, and like that. But
as far as in the smaller areas that are outside.
Yeah, it's like look at past Roanoke. I mean, it's like that whole part of Southwest Virginia, the population loss over a period of time. I mean, you got neighborhoods in Fairfax County that are bigger than towns in Southwest and Southside Virginia. It's a democratic. It's a shift in demographics, and it's nothing you can do about it. So we got to do the best we can. I'll tell you something else that you might not know. Lynchburg, a couple weeks ago, Lynchburg City has one of the highest unemployment rates in the state of Virginia, period. Now I'm not talking about, you throw in Campbell and Amherst and Bedford, it's like 3.6, but the city itself is like 4.7 unemployment rate. But nobody talks about it. Not I've heard. Maybe I don't get the news sources in the local area like I should, but I haven't heard anything about Lynchburg City having that. Those are the issues you got to deal with. You know, you shouldn't be out there bickering with each other. You should deal with economic development, get more jobs in the city. You know, and I'm not running for city council. Okay. I've been asked multiple times by multiple people. Done it, did it, loved it. It's finished. No, it's not going to happen. Okay, it's no ploy in that. It's no ploy.
But and I was going to ask you. You know, I mean, you talked about how divided it is. I mean, you know, the Republicans can't get along with each other, and then they're one Democrat. I mean, it's crazy what's going on right now in city council. What would your advice to those council members be?
Calm down and show the respect to other people like you would show respect to your fellow members of your church. That's what I would tell them. I would imagine all of our city council members are people of faith, and they don't treat their church members or their members of their faith in the particular place they worship to treat everybody with respect. Now, that's bottom line. Respect, respect, respect. And you get respect by giving respect.
Can we get back to that considering where we're at right now?
Well, when? Another day?
I mean, with our current city council. I don't want
to go there. I mean, it's just, you just got to be respectful. And like that. And when I was on city council, don't get me wrong, we want to, go holy crowd in there. We had some bards back and forth, okay? And some of the former council members might be hearing this, go, oh yeah, okay, they'll be telling stories too. But we respect each other.
What's one that jumped out? What got really contentious when you were on city council? One example.
Downtown revitalization. There's only a 4-3 vote. And we came within one vote and not putting money into it. And the person that represented Ward 2 at the time voted against it. So that was one. I think, I don't want to go back in time too far and what have you, but it's like football. You play football and then you shake hands to your opponent afterwards. That's a challenge there. But everything else is fine.
Teammates now that aren't even shaking hands.
That's true. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's like smacking them, Just wake up and everything. Just, you think everybody thinks it's so godly, just deal with it, things of that sort. So, okay.
You think we get back to some semblance of normalcy and we get back on the right track at some point soon?
Where at?
Lynchburg City.
Well, elections really have a way of defining what goes on. And actually, if the citizens of Lynchburg won't go out and vote, they got plenty of choices, come November. It's like 9 or 10 on their ballot. I can't remember, things of that sort. So, I mean, it's like, one thing it is, people come here and we have a great time, but there's less and less people in city council that grew up in the area. That is not a criticism. But it's in city council. Before I got on city council, I looked at city council members who were educators, business owners, a few pastors, et cetera, people who gave to the community. And being on city council, there's another way of giving the community to it. And that's what I've seen. And not to make a name for yourself, just to get back to the community. So actually our local office, which has been here for many decades, they were probably glad I got off of council, because then you got to make a decision on different issues like that. But and see, I come from the annex area, so to speak. I went to Brookville, but my mother lives off near Windsor Hills, off of Timberlake Road.
Okay.
I got so they went through all the issues of being annexed and going to build sidewalks and all that. It was a very contentious time, but everything kind of calmed down like that. But Lynchburg's a wonderful city. You talk to so many people who live in different parts of the country, and they come here, and we have something very special like that. So it's a wonderful place to live. That's a diversion like that one.
Yeah. Slick.
Deflection.
Slick. Right. What's next for you, Bert?
Just wake up every morning and do the right thing. That's the bottom line. I am have an opportunity to work at the state level now more. Obviously, on the transportation board was fine for 5 years. So obviously, we decide $4 billion worth of work, each year, and I was appointed by Governor Northern, reappointed. And it was really fun to be on the Commonwealth Transportation Board. Shannon Valentine was on for a number of years. She was Secretary of Transportation. Mark Peake, maybe Mark listened to this, our state senator, he was on there. But that was a wonderful time. We decided a lot of different money throughout the state. It was wonderful. And
I'm hearing now, I just heard just the other morning on the morning line with Mary and Brian, that they were talking about, the traffic situation and how, some of the stuff that you worked on, Candler's Mountain and the 221 and 501 interchanges. We're finally going to see some of that happen.
But it's going to be down. First of all, it's going to be down the years. Well, first of all, this will be good information for your listeners and viewers. The fire department, they'll tell you this, the leadership fire department. What's the population of the city of Lynchburg? 80,000. Yeah. From 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, how many people you think are in the city limits? Take a number.
I'm going to go more. I'm going to go 94.
120.
Wow.
And fire departments has to staff themselves. 120,000 people are in the city 8 to 5, Monday through Friday.
Wow.
That basically, population in the city increased by 50%. That's why Timberlake Road and Ward Road and Forest Road and Lakeside Drive. I mean, it's a busy town.
Yeah,
it's a busy town like that. So, I think what happens is talking with the transportation board. It was there again. I didn't get into the weeds. They're like a 14-member board, and there's 9 districts and 5 at large. 3 urban, 2 rural at large, and you have 9 districts. You have a Lynchburg district, which covers Lynchburg to Danville, 10 counties, a bunch of towns, and 2 cities. And I was that rep for 5 years. And during that time, we got around $18 million additional for the bridge to go over Old Forest Road. Originally, with the construction, they were not going to have a bridge, which to me didn't make any sense because you got the light there. Right. Now, they've had problems with the designer. The city had to get another designer. It should be in construction phase now. I don't think it's going to be complete to 2032 like that. But it's another big project that we got probably 25, 30 million ballpark over a number of years ago. It's going to be a massive restructuring of the interchange on Candler's Mountain Road and the Expressway. And that's a real bottleneck there. Yeah. And that was designed in the late 50s. And it's a very dangerous area. You got to really watch yourself, on there. So we got a lot of money coming that way. And this is designated money. And I think it's indexed for inflation too. So don't worry. I won't be on the transportation board cutting the ribbon or anything. But that would be improvements that we have. I will say one thing that talking about Northern Virginia. We had a transportation board meeting years ago, and this is something completely out of area. I'm not trying to bore your listeners, but there's a development as far as having a extension of a road from Martinsville down to the North Carolina border. And it's a very expensive. I don't know if you've ever driven that road, 221, it dips back and forth and everything. And of course, you get to North Carolina, it's all interstate stuff, it looks so good. I say that because we were sitting around a meeting. It's in Richmond, right near behind the governor's mansion where the VDOT headquarters are, or it was. They moved out to Henrico County. So one of the members from Loudoun County says, well, I don't know if you're going to have the money to fund that project down there. And I went, excuse me, Chairman, we're not Alabama, Mississippi. Okay, we're not Fairfax, not Loudoun County, but down there we have the same state taxes and we get the same license plate. So I don't want to be here and down there again. And that person from Northern Virginia backtracked big time. So I say that because we got to be respectful. But don't be pushing us around like that. So take it from there.
Can I make a request?
Yes, sir.
No more traffic circles.
Well, actually, first of all, I had no. We decided funding. Okay, we decided.
Okay.
But traffic circles. When they created, rather than some traffic circles in the city of Lynchburg were not created as traffic circles. Okay, but what happens? Had a lot of criticism, and they're living in Richmond 15 years. There's a lot of traffic circles, particularly on Monument Avenue. But I'll tell you something: traffic circles reduce fatalities, reduce injuries, and reduce accidents. All right? And you just got to know how to go around. Now, they brought traffic circles to Lynchburg when I was on city council, and my goodness. So, okay, now.
So the one on 5th Street, when they first put that in, my boys were really, really young.
Right.
So they're in the back seat in their car seats. And just to freak people out, I just kept driving around it.
Oh, yeah.
And people would just sit there, and I'd go past them 4, 5, 6 times. They didn't know what to do.
You didn't know what to do?
They didn't know
Why
what
did you
to
do
do
that then?
I was just to mess with them.
Did anybody report you to the authorities by doing that? Things of that sort?
I don't think so.
Okay. But I tell you, you would think.
Is that illegal?
No, it's not illegal. What happens is that it's a waste of gas and time. But what I'm saying is that people, when we started getting, years ago when I was on council, the first roundabouts, you thought something dropped out of Mars, okay? And here's the caveat, all right? Myself, my wife, and 14 other people joined, mostly from the Chamber of Commerce, et cetera, at that time, joined 1,600 other people and took the Greek tours, the summer tours on a cruise ship. First time I've ever been on a cruise ship, last time I've been on a cruise ship. And what happens, we cruise it during the day and at night, and went to an island where Paul was in prison. It was pretty neat. We went over to Turkey, okay? Unbelievable architectural place. And it's just unbelievable back in the times before Christ. And I was walking down, I went, what is that? It's a traffic circle. It didn't come from Paris, okay? It's a traffic circle back before in BC, okay? So if you ever need a traffic circle education, we'll drive around, okay?
What about technology and improvements? We haven't improved off that? Thousands of years.
Thousands of years have been the same way, things of that sort. But it's been enjoyable talking to you and things of that sort. I'm not trying to cut the conversation off.
No, you're good. Last one for you. Retirement anytime soon?
When you come to my wake, okay, and everybody hears the same thing. So, as long as the good Lord has an opportunity to do things for our community and for our family and for our customers and for, it's just, that's the way I'm going to be. It's people might say, oh, he's just full of whatever. No, tell everybody that. Like a farmer, go get that last bale of hay up. So what happens? When you lay your head down for the last time, that's it and everything. I'll be gone, but, pests will still be around. Okay, there'll be a lot less of them, things of that sort. But, thank you for your time. I act like I'm in your now. But it's like, and it's really nice for your listeners to listen to this and things of that sort.
I appreciate your time. It was a lot of fun.
It was very good. God bless you.
Thank you, Bert.